Previous to this current patch that's live, melee assassins were kind of seen as weak. So it definitely hurt us a little bit before then, and then as soon as the patch hit, melee assassins saw a huge buff, and I think that's a huge boon to us, and that it really just benefits us more than any other team, because most of the other teams don't really play melee assassins. So you buff one specific team, and we'll see what happens.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the America's Championship. My name is Solid Jake Kalinsky, and I'm joined here at the desk by the one and only Gillyweed.
Indeed, I'm here for our final match of the day. It's going to be so hype, and I am so excited that I get to be here for it.
We've also got our super analyst here, Mr. Trixler himself.
Dude, I'm so excited for these matches. These two teams are basically the people's champs, right? They're the team you expect Cloud9 to do well. You expect TimberStorm to do well as well. But these two teams are teams that could potentially bring some upsets and really maybe take those BlizzCon slots. So can't wait to watch them.
Well, speaking of those teams, let's actually throw to the host to introduce us to them.
Guys, this is one of my favorites, if not my personal favorite matchup. These teams, when they play, I mean, what we just watched, that was like a fencing match, right? Very elegant. This is like gladiatorial combat. It's gonna get messy. It's gonna get scrappy.
Get behind that.
Yeah, I am really excited, and it is my pleasure to introduce, of course, our blue team. They are very aggressive. They are full of big personalities. Let us know how you feel about them. It is Cognitive.
And their opponents, this team took down Fierce Gaming with a swift move to get one step closer to BlizzCon, and they want to win this next one too, because that means only one match stands in their way until they secure their ticket to BlizzCon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me, compLexity! All right, well, as you mentioned, I mean, glad to hear about it. I think that's pretty fitting. Having talked to both these teams too today, both of them are like, well, I mean, we're confident. We're just going to go in confident. What else is there to expect?
They are both very confident. And one thing is being confident, and a whole other thing is winning this match. So here to talk to us about who is going to do that, it is our world-class commentators. Take it away, guys.
Thanks so much, Anna and Chober. And guys, I can feel the energy in this venue. We saw the games from compLexity and Cognitive earlier, and both of them were phenomenal. Now they're going to be clashing here in the final match of the day.
In our last match, we saw the rivalry, the classic rivalry with TimberStorm and Cloud9. But now this is another rivalry right away, Cognitive and compLexity. Cognitive defeated compLexity in July to earn their spot here this weekend, and then compLexity did the very same thing last month to earn their spot. And right here we do see Cognitive Gaming.
Yeah, Cog right now is feeling very, very confident. They feel like this patch is theirs. You heard it in the video, and you see it in their gameplay. But the thing is compLexity on the other side of the battleground is a team that really feels so versatile. They really try to hype that up a little bit, is that we can play anything. We're very flexible. And if Cog wants to come at us with assassin heavy play, we'll go ahead and find the best counter to it and then execute perfectly, which is something that is very, very fun to see. I want to see what compLexity is bringing out today, because I know they've been working very, very hard on a particular hero, and we'll talk about that later when we get to the drafts.
Being the team captain of a world-class iVSlime team is a full-time job. We asked Cognitive Gaming to tell us about the importance of Hospital's role and how he helps the team become a winning team.
What he really brings to the team is outside of game. Basically between scrims, like during like a relax time, he kind of helps to push us along and make sure that we're ready to scrim, or if we need a break.
I was actually the captain before I stepped down 3 months ago, so I kind of gave that role over to him because he's been a good friend of mine since I've been in the competitive scene. He's a great player, he's a really good guy, and he has a lot of great traits. Like, he always keeps us in focus. Even when we're having troubles focusing in scrims or some of us are maybe tilting a little bit, he always tries to get us back on track and says the things that make us rally as a group and get back to playing the way we should be playing.
The thing that I'm most focused on is keeping everyone prepared for our first game. We are like ready to go, but I know that we'll need a little bit of a shove and a little bit of a kick to really keep us focused and keep us there practicing. That's what'll get us there to that first place finish.
Well, after that game against Relics earlier today, Cognitive is on fire. They played a composition without a warrior, just Illidan, and specking with Brightwing, Tassadar, and Abathur to have the max shield potential to keep Illidan alive, and then running with, again, Illidan in the second game, showing their versatility in these drafts.
Yeah, that indeed was a major thing for the entire team of Cognitive. And really, the question is, will they continue that strategy going in against compLexity? The reason being, they could have been using that strategy just to kind of throw off anyone watching that match and actually move to different scenarios. You know, talking to Cog, Glaurung, and a few of them before, they have a lot of strategies that they want to pull out. They don't want to put it all on top of Glaurung here, but they can if they need to. They will support them. We've seen that. Now, what are the other cards they have in their entire hand? And I can't wait to see.
Well, here we do see compLexity, and these members, they know the Cognitive very well, so it will be still difficult to throw them off. And of course, we do have Blinks here. Blinks has said multiple times that compLexity won't be happy until they are the best team in the world. Blinks is their team captain. Let's see what compLexity said about him.
I like to think that I do something important on the team, but I'm not really sure what it is.
I would say that our team captain Blinks is pretty much the most mature one on the team, even though he can be the most immature one at sometimes. But when it comes down to get serious and like we need to practice, we need to prepare, like Blinks is always there.
He's the one who's keeping us in line.
I think I'm the one that needs to be serious when people maybe don't want to be serious, and I need to be there to deal with the things that people don't want to deal with.
As a melee assassin player and Blinks as a support player, his job is to just save me all the time. So I'm like always glad that he's there for me.
He just gives us the drive to become better players and better teammates for each other.
As the team captain, I have to take that extra step and just make sure that I'm doing it, make sure my team's doing it, and I guess kind of set an example, but I don't think I need to because they're all great guys.
The confidence of compLexity really shining through there. And honestly, I have no idea who is going to win this match. Both these teams showed excellent games earlier today, and I can't pick a favorite.
I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards compLexity, just a smidgen, 55-45 there. Just because compLexity in the past has shown that they can deal with melee assassin aggression coming their way. They pulled out heroes like Gavlas, they pulled out heroes like Thrall to kind of counter that, and they really know how to stop that, I guess, truck hitting your face, and they're able to try to fight it back and stop it from getting on the highway in the future again. They're so good at dealing with those type of aggressions that if they come out and do that today, they have a huge chance of potentially taking this entire series.
Well, guys, as always, we want you guys to be part of the conversation. Head on over to Twitter and go to Esports Heroes and use the hashtag HeroesWC to vote for your favorite team and tell us your predictions.
We would also like to thank our sponsors, Gigabyte, NVIDIA, and Totina's Pizza Rolls for their support in bringing you the Heroes of the Storm America's Championship.
But without further delay, we have the draft ready to roll for game number 1, and we're going to Sky Temple here between compLexity Gaming and Cognitive.
So, talking to Cog a little bit earlier, they do have a particular strategy they want to pull off here. Now, will it happen? It could be the same thing we saw in the earlier match. We saw Illidan go full ham, but it could happen. Ban. Wow, compLexity coming out of the gates and says, hey, no Illidan for you, Glaurung. Let's see what else you got up your hands.
No Illidan here immediately. What will Cognitive choose to ban? So it'll be Zeratul, another respect ban anyway. Though we typically see Zeratul as a second ban in multiple games. The fact that they're saying Jaximus's Zeratul is so scary, we don't want to go against it at all.
I just want to say how happy I am to see the respect ban on Illidan. That was such a key point in their victory over Relics earlier today, but that does allow compLexity to pick up that very early ether as well.
It's a good way for them to also test to see if the strategy is just as strong with a hero like the Butcher. Because the Butcher is someone that Glaurung can use and can run in with, and you can have the support kind of help them out if he has a kiting capability to do so. compLexity taking Uther, though, does walk away from that Divine Shield, which makes it a little bit harder to move towards that Butcher, but again, maybe Brightwing works in this scenario.
Yeah, realizing that Glaurung, yes, is known for that Illidan play, but also has a fantastic character too. He plays very well a lot of the melee assassins, but Cognitive, a first pick on Arthas and followed up immediately by Leoric. The skeleton, the Lich brothers have arisen.
The Bruiser Bros, the kings of the world. I mean, this is so unique. We have not seen an Illidan ban or an Arthas first pick at all in this tournament. And, well, that's because of how aggressive these two teams are, shaking things up with these drafts.
Yeah, a lot of teams are really identifying just how strong Arthas is into his early game. And then moving to the mid game, you have two options that you can use. If you're ahead, you can pick up Synergosa, land a lot of cool wombo combos. You also have the potential of the Army of the Dead to really keep you alive if you need more durability. If you're finding out in the early game, there's just too much burst. Now, on the opposite side, compLexity moves towards Jaina and Abathur.
Well, now they've got the potential for a double Jaina if they want to go the route of the ultimate evolution, but this is Sky Temple. It's the tallest battleground we have. So picking up that evolved monstrosity, they're going to have a good potential for a split push there too. So either way, it could work out for them there. I love the Abathur pickup.
Yeah, the power of the mule, the power of just the split soak that exists with Abathur. So very good, but those second bans have come in. There is going to be a ban on Tyrande. They're worried about, Butcher. We talked about him being a big threat. And we also have the ban on Muradin on the side of Cognitive. They want to say, hey, no reverberation. We like melee assassins. Muradin's a good counter to that, so just get that out of here.
Yeah, so that just leaves Johanna as a warrior available for compLexity. If the Cog doesn't pick her up here, then they might do so to force a weird warrior pick here for compLexity. However, even if compLexity does pick up Johanna, Leoric and Arthas can actually do very, very well against her. And there we go, Cog picking up the Butcher, wanting to get very, very aggressive in these fights. Finally, we're seeing this from him, Glaurung, and we'll see how the team can support him.
And they're going to be so in compLexity's faces. Arthas, Leoric, the Butcher, and now they have Tassadar, actually. They're going to have the shields that come from him to help support, keep them more supported, but also he provides vision. He's kind of another one of those supports that's very well-rounded and brings a lot of utility to team composition.
So Jake, I'm actually wondering a little bit here, could this be the day and age where we see Force Wall? Arthas and Leoric actually bring decent damage in. Butcher can really annihilate people if he can focus someone down and lock him down. Force Wall could be the prime opportunity for Cog to actually pull that off against compLexity.
Tim, you're getting me too excited, but Thrall is here as well. That's also getting me excited. They're picking up that big melee assassin with the Abathur hat, also going to be in the face, and I love him picked against all these big warriors. They don't have a lot of stuns, right? Butcher has Ruthless Onslaught. They've got the slow on Arthas. They've got the slow on Leoric, but what Thrall really hates to fight against is the big stuns, because then he can't heal himself. So the Sundering, very powerful. I don't think we'll see Earthquake played here. Should be a Wind Fairy build picked up here for Thrall.
Yeah, that's generally what people are doing with the Thrall builds, but we have a melee assassin versus melee assassin, so it's going to be who can do it better. Now we've got one more pick for each team here. Let's see, on compLexity side, still no warrior yet. Not sure if they'll choose to do the warrior list composition that we saw Cognitive run early. No, it will be Johanna to finalize their composition.
All right, so Johanna's got to be careful in these fights, but going back to Thrall really quickly, he's going to excel in this scenario if they can get to the shrines on time to actually grab those temples, because if they do so, that means the Butcher, Arthas, and Leoric will be diving into Thrall, and that's where he accelerates, when he's actually able to bring in the damage and also hit a key Sundering.
I'm feeling the Brightwing. They played Brightwing Tassadar earlier. Brightwing is great for the global presence, the split soak here on this battleground in particular, and the shields paired up with those two heroes have been quite good.
Yeah, Brightwing is valued very high by Cog, and there she is, the Fairy Dragon of Death, if you will. We're going to see if they're going to get that level 13 count that allows them to get the reduced spell damage on top of the Butcher, but we're going to get ready for this game very soon. Jake, I can't wait. What do you think, man?
Brightwing's being played. I couldn't be happier. I know Gilly loves Brightwing. I love Brightwing. I've got Fairy Dragon plushies all over my house. Seriously, I do.
I believe you. I do too.
Super cool because of it.
Apparently, we're twins here.
All right, guys. Well, game number one is about to begin here between Cognitive and compLexity on Sky Temple. Let's hop into it. All righty, the game is loading up. compLexity, the team that advances here, will be guaranteed to go to the next phase of the tournament. And on the side of Cognitive, Glaurung will be playing on the fabled Butcher. Iakona on Brightwing. Scylol playing the Orc. It's going to be Hospital on Arthas, and iVSlime will be playing as Tassadar.
And here to show us the power of Thrall, we have compLexity with Jaximus on that Thrall. Hans will be playing the Abathur Cattlepillar on Johanna. Trummel playing Jaina, and rounding it out, Uther will be played by Blinks.
The rise of some of these heroes in the recent patches has been incredibly exciting. Seeing Thrall be played more and more in this tournament has been quite the treat. Last night over in the Korean events, they were playing a lot of Tychus. So as Heroes just continues to grow, the hero pool continues to evolve each week. It's rather a treat, Gilly.
It is indeed, especially with a Brightwing now. Brightwing we haven't seen in a long time. It's been a while. She was hibernating for the summer, but she's back. She's got hyper shift, so she's going to be phase shifting all over the place. And that's going to be really fantastic because she can do things like sit in lane and soak for as long as possible and then teleport in when she's absolutely needed for these fights.
I had no idea Fairy Dragon hibernated in summer, but that is a cool fact. Now I know.
Yeah, well, you're welcome for that. Little Fairy Dragon knowledge coming your way.
All right, so just taking a quick look at some of the talents here. I mean, you see that Butcher is going for a block, and this just immediately respecting the damage output of that Wind Period on Thrall. But wow, immediately you see a lot of damage being thrown out. The Howling Blast will be mitigated with the Iron Skin there on Johanna. Nicely done.
Another pickup here is the reach on Uther. Blinks has been picking that up quite frequently, but it's going to be very nice too, especially the fact that they do have the potential to have kind of the fight spread out. That way Uther can make sure that he can reach both sides of the battle with his heals.
Yeah, we see that picked up very frequently, like you said, with those melee assassins on your team. The first shrines of this game will be spawning in just about 2 seconds. And currently we do see the control on the side of the blue team Cognitive of that watchtower. So they have eyes on that entire top portion of the game. Scylol will be sitting on the middle temple. Top temple currently uncontested.
So in the bottom, we do have Abathur continuing to sit there and soak. We had him move down there so that he can get the lane soak there. That's one benefit of having the Abathur there for compLexity, and why we see Brightwing staying there. Like I mentioned before, she can always phase shift if needed, but otherwise, she will be able to seal the fight. But here comes the ruthless onslaught into the Howling Blast. Trummel so incredibly low, as is Cattle. Can't get away from the Frozen Tempest, and Johanna will fall. Trummel barely staying alive.
One more tick from that side, and it would have been lights out for Jaina, but she barely walks away and taps the temple. Now going to try to retaliate, but all this time we've seen the top temple was controlled by Uther for a fair amount of time. With ammunition, just about half that has been used, not even.
So we've got Cognitive choosing to try to get the rest of this mid-temple. If they can get it where they take most of the shots from this, then they can always rotate up and try to contest that temple as well too. So they're really trying to control this so that they can get the maximum amount instead of just trying to switch them out.
All right, Howling Blast was whipped here, and that's a lot of damage going off on Hospital. He will end up falling very quickly in this fight.
All right, one takedown on each side, and compLexity starting to work on some of these temples here. But iVSlime split pushing here. We even have Brightwing still in the bottom, has not chosen to come up here. So Cognitive's lane soak has been excellent through this temple phase.
Yeah, usually when you see Abathur, you're like, yeah, they're going to have the better lane soak. But Brightwing just showing off the utility of that hero, getting that as well. Slight experience lead for them. Structurally, things are quite even right now. compLexity Cognitive, quite even pairing.
Very, very even, and I expected nothing less. There is Peekaboo, the talent that iakona picked up on Brightwing, going to be able to provide them vision, and of course the polymorph too on Cattle, as they're trying desperately just to get the rest of the shots off of this temple. Cattle trying to delay as long as possible, but needs to be careful.
Yeah, but they did in fact force Brightwing up here. So right now they're actually not getting that soak in the bottom lane, in which Abathur is doing so. That's a good thing for compLexity. They want to force that as often as they can for Brightwing to come up and assist the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. She can't phase shift down to the bottom because there's no other heroes there. It has to be to them. So getting back down there would take a long while of rotating back around. We've got level 7 talents being picked up on Cognitive. They've actually got Healing Ward on Tassadar, so trying to help out Brightwing's heals a little bit. Doesn't have a ton of healing. It's area around her consistently, and so just trying to bolster that up as much as possible.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart pickup here. I mean, that's what Brightwing, she kind of fell out of the meta, and we're seeing Cog play her, but with Tassadar, right? Tassadar has the shield, and he's not really in full support. We like to call him a pseudo support because the damage output from Sidestorm and then the Archon form at level 10 makes him like an assassin in a lot of ways.
We also do have Frost Armor on Jaina, so it won't be the boost of Frostbitten for her damage, but realizing the concern of having a Butcher and wanting to just stay alive to do a little less damage than just get taken out and do nothing.
Okay, well, Jaximus showing his prowess here in the jungle, picking up a siege camp. in the bottom portion of the map. Avatar had assisting him in a little bit, but of course that trait will heal him up as he deals some damage. And wow, that is a polarized charge.
We want to know who you guys think will win. You still have plenty of time to vote in this poll. Make sure to use the hashtag HeroesWC on Twitter and the hashtag with the team name you think will take the series.
I believe in Cognitive, and you guys should too, but compLexity, they're looking great in this matchup. Cog currently sitting in a party bush. If anyone rotates through the center part of the map, well, it's going to be lights out with that butcher charging on forward.
Now soon we will have the bottom temple being activated, but this is a very strong push top, and they're going to be able to take down this fort very, very quickly. A super early fort rotation pickup here.
Yeah, just powering through it. I mean, they were waiting to see if someone would rotate, and they realized, no one's here. Let's just take out their fort. Great decision-making by Cognitive. Now they're so very close to those level 10 heroic abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if they can pick those up into the next temple phase, then compLexity may not be able to fight them at it because they won't have their heroic abilities for a whole entire other level.
Yep.
So although Avatar has that mind, they were able to take out the fort completely, and that's really important for Cognitive.
All right, well, Glau goes pretty far forward, gets the stun off, and immediately backs away. One thing we should point out is just the fact that there is one mule in this game. Avatar went for a mule. That's going to allow compLexity to sustain through a lot of the structural damage done by the temples. That's not something Cognitive has in their kit.
Right, and that does mean compLexity can be okay with not really trying to get taken out over the temple as much. They're trying to bide their time. They are soaking as many lanes as possible, all of them in fact, with that Avatar up top. They're trying to get as 10 as much as possible and then force a fight. Unfortunately, they just lost Jaina.
Yeah, beautifully done there, just pulling her on in and taking her out. Another takedown on the side of COD, sitting up 2-1 right now. And controlling this bottom temple, well, that means the bottom fort of compLexity is taking heavy damage.
It absolutely is. The mule is trying desperately to hold it up. The final 5 shots left. May not be enough to take it out, but Cog is coming in, realizing that there is a mule available, and Jaina still trying to get back into the rotation down here. Can Cog take it out in time before she gets here, though?
Yeah, it's always risky to dive in a situation like this, especially if you don't have eyes on Thrall. And there's actually 2 Thralls flanking from the top portion of this fight.
2 Thralls, and there goes the Feral Spirit onto Scylol. There is a huge Sundering. March of the Black King, though, trying to sustain himself up, but it's really iakona who's having a problem. Brightwing already goes down here as Hans, still with the ultimate evolution, trying to get some more damage down on Cognitive. Will Scylol be able to get away? Wraithwatch barely saving his life.
A beautiful engagement there by compLexity, reeling the head in the situation. Glaurung goes too far forward and gets blown up.
2 takedowns for nothing in favor of compLexity, and they're going to continue their push here, trying to even up the structures just a little bit. Very important that they continue to do so, especially since they do have that mule. If they get ahead in structures, this will be very difficult for Cognitive.
What a juke by Trummel, just dashing back there, predicting the Howling Blast. If he got hit by that, could have been lights out easily. Very nicely done. compLexity is playing phenomenally right now.
They really are, and they've started to even out that level disadvantage that Cognitive did have, only about a half level behind here. That's really going to help them as they continue to get further and further along, and Avatar starts to be able to split push more and more. He still is going for the pressurized glands, adrenal overload build, so he's still focusing on helping out Thrall, but even still, you get a ton of push with him.
I just gotta say compLexity's play in general is just super clean. They're not taking unnecessary risks. They realize when they have a situation, they're rotating down and then using the fact that they can create a clone. It goes from being, hey, Thrall's gonna flank us to, oh no, 2 Thralls are flanking us, and just giving them those great opportunities to take great team fights.
Absolutely. When you have that ultimate evolution, it's always very important that you know exactly the right time to engage. Engaging when you have that ultimate evolution available, and the flank was just beautiful there. And we do have temples activating now. compLexity is still a little bit behind. They are down a talent tier here, but there are 2 temples, so if they could trade them out because they have that duel, that could be very advantageous for them.
Yeah, remember how low that bottom fort was? You can see the health bar is rather full here in the bottom lane right now. That is the power of that ability, level 7 on Avatar.
Now we do have a push going in on the bottom. Jaina will go down and still, actually that is the mid, and so they've got the push along with the temple here, and so they're trying to be able to take it out as much as possible, so there is no chance of being able to heal up this fort.
Yeah, Ice Block not quite enough to save Jaina in that instant, and iVSlime has rotated down here with Glaurung, applying a lot of damage to cattlepillar. Brightwing face shifting in. Where's the pile up? No divine shield because the last instance.
Yeah, the fantastic rotation down by Blinks here, and I have to say, Cognitive have done a really good job at finding and catching somebody out every time they have just a slight talent advantage right before it. And in fact, there's a Howling Blast. They might be able to catch Cattle here. The Sundering going to maybe keep him alive. He's so incredibly close. He won't be able to. Oh, the Psynics are really taking it, but he will be able
Beautiful use there of the trait, but the bottom fort has fallen. Glaurung diving forward, will be able to step on back away, and Abathur is actually sitting on this middle temple, realizing there's a rotation happening. Hans needs to get out of here.
Deep tunnel away from that right away. This whole time, though, we've got an engagement on the bottom as Glaurung's fairly low, but so has Cattle. Cattle didn't have time to try to get back up here. Uther will go down. Ruthless Onslaught not going to let Jaximus get away here. We do have Thrall completely trapped here. The symbiote trying desperately to keep him alive with his Carapace, but it won't be enough, and another takedown in favor of Cognitive.
The beautiful polymorph there to deny the heals of Uther, securing that takedown. And then when you see Butcher fighting Thrall, if that Butcher's brand is applied, there is no chance Thrall's going to win that fight.
Right, they had him completely cornered too. It was really fantastic to just push him in there so there's no way of getting out. And Cognitive doing what they love, going straight to bosses. They love picking up bosses whenever possible, and they're going to be able to get this one that would be normally pretty risky, but with that Thrall down, they totally knew they had it in the bag.
So from what was a very even game, a single temple phase where Cognitive took the better team fights, they now have a level and a half lead, and on top of that, they have their level 16 talents, Gillyweed.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at some of the talents, while we do have a second, we've got a polymorph talent from Brightwing, so it'll either be Critterize or Greater Polymorph, just depending if they want to get that vulnerability, or if they want to make Polymorph last as long as possible. But the big deal is Blood Frenzy on Butcher. Now, in addition to having those stacks of fresh meat, up his attack damage, now his attack speed is up too.
35% more attack speed is not something I'd ever want to fight. That's going to hurt a lot. And they're roaming around the battleground, collecting all of the mercenary camps. We have these top offensive camp picked up here by Cog. They're really doing a wonderful job just keeping complexity in their base, defending at all times.
What do you think of the pickup on Lamb to the Slaughter? Almost always we see Glaurung go with the Furnace Blast.
You know, considering their composition when it comes to control, I love it. It's so crucial for just locking down Jaina, locking down Thrall, and removing them, because with the composition, when you have Uther, a lot of the times they're just going to slip away, but you have Lamb to Slaughter, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, and now they're picking up, I really loved that play of holding off on the Giants here until just now, so that they have all of the Giants pushing at the exact same time, making sure that they're able to deal a lot of damage right away, and they're even going to push with it. This could be scary because they are pushing up the bridge, and there are temples about to spawn. They look like they are way more concerned with trying to get a keep and catapults pushing.
All right, well, those two towers have fallen. That's permanent damage. Del and Johanna trying to defend these Giants will be able to do so, especially with Night takes pawn. But top and bottom are available, and it looks like they might be sending Brightwing alone to the top lane, and the rest of the team here to control the bottom.
And once again, she can always phase shift in if the team needs her here. That is the power of the Brightwing. And they might need her, though, sooner than they think, because already complexity, they've picked up their level 16 talents. They really want to push in here. They've got to get the damage off of their structures here. This is a difficult temple, though, to try to engage into or get out of.
Butcher and Leoric flanking from the top, but Leoric takes a lot of damage right off the bat. Brightwing is desperately needed here, and she space shifts down into the battle. But that March of the Blacking, hitting 3 members, is doing way too much damage.
Oh, just wrecked Jaximus. Cattle is stuck in that frozen Tempest too and taking so much damage. The ultimate evolution is still on the chase for Glaurung, but that is that shield, the stability of the shielding that we talked about from Cognitive, keeping him alive. Trummel, Solo has to ice block on top of the Psionic Sword, but it wasn't enough. He will go down. Cattle is down too. Only Abathur remains for complexity.
The Brightwing play of iakona is on point. The phase shift mid-battle to get that big shield onto his ally, and then Blink healing out of harm's way at the last moment. Excellently done. This is putting them in a position where they can really pressure this bottom keep, and that will be the first keep going down this game.
This keep down while holding the shrine on bottom again is Brightwing, showing off the utility of this, and of course, like you mentioned, iakona's stellar play on Brightwing. They're basically saying, hey, do you remember Brightwing? We sure do.
I'll remember this forever, man. This has been excellent, but iakona taking a little bit too much damage from these Guardians, gets those final shots, and then hearts back to base. Butcher making his way to the top temple to control that, which has full ammunition waiting for them.
Here's the other nice thing about Brightwing. I know I talk about her all the time, but hey, we never get to see her, and I love her so much. She can always go back and heal up. She doesn't have to worry about the fact that, oh, we might have a fight coming soon, because as soon as she gets back here and heals up, she can phase shift right back in, and they're going to need her.
Yeah, they certainly will, but she's got full mana. She's ready for battle here in the top lane, and Scylol in the back. iVSlime throwing down a healing one, a great spot, and we do see the Lamb to the Slaughter. Not doing a whole lot here with the Divine Shield, keeping Jaximus nice and healthy, and there's the clone. This is when things get scary on the side of complexity.
Butcher is down, but Blinks is so incredibly low here. Shield does keep him alive for now, and he's getting the heck out of there. want to see it happening here, and he will fall too. This game is so incredibly close. iakona can't play kill away. No, won't be able to get to Tassadar in time.
Wow, compLexity bouncing back in this game. They take control of the trend, and they're continuing to chase iVSlime. The Wolf connects with the room. The Cadet pulling him in, and iVSlime goes down.
Tassadar did not have his pressures up, so he just went straight down, even though Trummel is very, very low. Hans, we're seeing him, his ability to soak this lane here, but we still have a tempo up. Half of the tempo left, at least for compLexity to pick up, but they've got to get those Storm talents for the next engagement for sure.
Yeah, the fact that compLexity was able to take a fight on the verge of level 20 on the side of Cognitive is really good. And a testament, just they knew that was a situation where they had to make it happen then and there. Perfectly done. They're back in this game.
Now, looking at some of the Storm talents we do have on the side of Cog, we have Bolt of the Storm, the Twilight Archon, 2 Hardened Shields on Arthas and Leoric, and then we have Rewind on Brightwing. So trying desperately to make sure that she has all of the abilities that she needs, especially that Polymorph.
All right, well, we do see compLexity trying to take this boss. 2 members up, Glaurung and Scylol here in the face of them. Brightwing immediately face shifting into battle, clearing with those mines, the after mines in the left bush there.
And this boss is going to be interesting here. We see the Sundering go out, but the boss wasn't quite taken yet, and we have Scylol on top of the point. Will we see the March of the Black King that's trying to get into there? They have to keep them on the points, though, but he's getting very, very low, but so is Cattle. Butcher is the one to go down. Cattle, indestructible, will be popped on. Hans, the ultimate evolution nearly done. They've nearly done it. They take out Thrall, and they will be able to pick this up. It will be Cognitive.
iakona is still alive. The heals were exactly what they needed. Trummel slips away, but it doesn't matter. Cognitive steals them off, and now they're going to push down this bottom lane with the boss. Hey, they found Blink. That's a bonus tree.
A bonus tree indeed, because this boss is heading straight to core. We still have Johanna down for 42 seconds to 45 on some of the other members, and this is going to be a tough defense, Chase.
I don't think they can do it, Gilly, with the Giants, with the boss, and 4 members versus 1. This is pretty much an impossible defense on the side of compLexity. Cognitive looking to take game number 1 in this epic matchup.
Man, the aggression of Cognitive so on point. They've shown it to us versus Relics. They're showing it to us in this matchup versus compLexity too. What does compLexity need to do to bring it back? Or else they're going to have to stay in this group a little bit longer.
Oh, man, Tim, give it to me. What'd you think of that game?
That game was so back and forth, and really we started to see the power of Thrall moving into the late game, but it all came down to the throw pit there at the huge boss. The huge fight was so important, and really, although the Butcher may have been the main star that everyone was watching at throughout the entire early to mid game, Leoric in the late game came through and really powered through that win for Cog. So let's go ahead and check out the replay here. We'll see exactly how they just did it. So looking into the fight, let's go ahead and pause really, really quick. So you see on the right side over here, in fact, you see that the red team, as I use a blue line, is actually taking a lot of the damage there from the actual boss. Everyone else is trying to get over here. Cog is currently missing 1 member, as Arthas, if you look in the minimap, is actually at base. So Sai here is going to try to do his best as Pope. He's going to try and get a Drain Hope on top of Cattle so he can try and drain that health down a little bit. Because Cattle is actually the important one in this entire fight. He's going to be the one that's probably going to stand on the point. The moment he gets weak, the rest of his teammates are going to go into panic mode and then run on top of the actual boss itself. So let's go ahead and hit play really quickly. We're going to watch as this goes out. Remember, Arthas is on the way. Patience is key here for Cog. They have to be careful. Cattle taking damage, getting poked down. Hans uses the ultimate evolution, and Sai gets down to low HP. He uses the Wraith Walk to walk in there. Now, as soon as he gets low, watch him turn around and use March of the Black King here and start obliterating everyone and taking full health. He takes 3 members down to low health. You see iakona and a few members of Cattle and Hospital really kind of dancing around that entire area, but finally Slime shows up with the extra damage. Trummel in trouble as well. Tries to use Ice Block, and that right there is going to be game. Patience was so important for Cog. They displayed it throughout the entire game. Even with the Butcher play, you saw them sitting in bushes for a little bit. Arthas, Leoric sitting in bushes. For real, Cog is all about the bush right now. They've been doing so well when they hold that area, and they came out and really just showed how they can win a game.
Well, I gotta say, my favorite plays were just Brightwing because I love watching Brightwing action. I know we're together on that one. Seriously, those clutch moments in which the phase shift happens in the battle, the shielding, everyone on the side of Cognitive showing how diverse their playstyles can be.
Yeah, talking about the Brightwing, iakona on Brightwing shut down a majority of out of their pushes by himself because of the global presence that he has with the phase shift. So nice job by iakona and his team by allowing him to go do that. Use his abilities to clear that up and then come back in the fight as soon as possible. Beautiful play overall. Love that comp.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And what I really love too is Cognitive have a new player since August even too. So the fact that they've been able to adapt to that so quickly and be able to have such a strong showing, bringing out those Brightwing plays, but just a lot of surprise plays too, has been really a treat to watch.
Well, guys, before we head to a commercial break, I want you all to head over to heroesofthestorm.com/esports to get the full details on this event. You can find interviews with teams, commentators, all kinds of outlines and more information about the event there. But with that being said, we're going to go to a quick commercial break to get ready for game number 2 between Cognitive and compLexity.
All right, who's ready for another game between these two teams, Cognitive and compLexity? I was excited to see, I mean, we talked about the excitement these two teams bring, and in the last moments, we saw that picture-in-picture of the player cam for Glaurung. He was just like, yeah, let's go, we can end this game. That's the energy we have in Heroes of the Storm.
Oh man, that last boss steal, I love that boss pit right there. And I am ready for more. And to take us into more, of course, are our lovely, talented, dashing, punctual, and all of the things good commentators. Take it away, guys.
Oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever been so complimented in my life.
Whoa.
I'm gonna take a nap after that. That was a lot.
Oh my goodness, what a first game in this series. compLexity really just clashing together. It's like two trucks on a highway colliding.
It absolutely is, like two trucks, or like a gladiatorial match, but either way, if Cognitive win this next game right here, they've made it out of the group stage and into the next portion of this tournament.
Yeah, definitely gotta agree with you. You know, this is something that these teams want. They want to move forward. They don't want to have a chance to be eliminated. Now, of course, if you do lose, you still have the chance to keep moving through this bracket. We'll see them tomorrow, but you never want to walk away with a loss, especially at the end of the night. You're gonna go through the turmoil. You're gonna think about it an entire night. A win is very important here for both teams. You see them vying for it. You know, compLexity, they lost that match, but you saw what they were going for. They had moments of brilliance. Can they bring that to game number 2 and not go to the throw pit? They certainly can.
I believe in a game 3, but we'll find out. But of course, we have to give a big shout out and thank you to our sponsors, Gigabyte NVIDIA and Totino's Pizza Rolls, for their support in bringing the Heroes of the Storm America's Championship.
And with that, it's time to see what compLexity are going to do to try to deal with the aggression of Cognitive. Let's hop into the draft and see who they'll choose on Cursed Hollow.
You speak of aggression, and you know we keep yelling that about COG, but I just want to commend them on their ability to be passive when they need to be with their aggressive strats, if that makes any sense.
No, it does.
They always wait for the opportunity to make it work for them. You know, there was a point in that last game on Sky Temple where there was a fight in the bottom lane, and we saw all of compLexity chasing down COG because they thought it was only a 5v3. There were two people sitting in areas where they could jump out and get to an engagement, and that was all due to the great shot calling by Glaurung and his team communicating together.
Absolutely. You know, there was an interview with Cognitive's manager that talked about how Glaurung's not afraid to go for a dive without follow-up.
Sure.
So the ability to know exactly, is this going to work or is this too much? It's a very, very fine line for him when he plays these heroes. So great job on being able to tell that for sure.
Well, we can see the bans are going to be Zeratul and Kale Foss, and the first pick is going to be Cognitive grabbing Jaina. It's all about that assassin meta in this matchup.
Jaina just a great pick on the map, Cursed Hollow, by the way, just so you guys know at home. She has so much poking, so much damage on this map, and again, we just seen her on a majority of comps, really bringing people together. She's a great foundation. You can go wombo combo, you can go poke. We've been seeing a lot of builds starting to surface here for Jaina that can fit into any type of composition.
Yeah, and you mentioned poke, and poke is really important on this battleground because you need something that can stop the tribute channels as much as possible while the rest of your team rotates in. And compLexity are going to grab Uther and Lior because they're only 2 picks before the next fan phase. Not showing their hand too much here, but enough to start getting the stable foundation for the rest of their composition.
They got to be feeling good about getting Uther here, though, because Uther did so much for COG in that last game, and having him and Lior, well, that's a rock-solid foundation of a team.
God, I agree with you. Well, looking into COG, they have 2 more picks. Who are they going to pick up here to follow? Potentially, they could grab a couple more warriors as well. But really, I think they want to go with somebody that's pure aggressive, moving on in. Do they want to move into... Wow, they were actually picking up after a little bit quickly here, which could be indicative of them going straight into Illidan.
They may go straight into Illidan. He's not banned this time. They could totally pick him up. We've seen crazy strats, and he's back once again. The betrayer has arrived.
Man, we saw this earlier, and that's why we saw the respect ban on Illidan in that last game. compLexity said, no, we don't want to fight that. Well, Cog's like, well, you're going to give it to us. We're going to take it because of how powerful it was versus Relics earlier in today's tournament.
So we do want to know something. Earlier when we did see Illidan, not to take anything away from Cognitive, I feel like the Relics weren't dealing with it well, right? Every time they got into a fight that they started losing, they would never kite back and put damage on top of Illidan. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of shields and you kind of just want to get away from all that, but I feel like compLexity has a little bit more discipline to deal with Illidan. They'll be able to A, combine any stuns that they have to. They should be going for more CC here in the draft if possible. And B, they should be able to kite back and deal with Illidan appropriately. If you leave him alone, let him keep chasing, he will take everyone out.
Speaking of wanting more CC, we do have a Tyrande ban, but look who else we have banned, Jake.
Fight time! No,
it's not fight time.
I should never imitate Brightwing. She has been banned out here, and that is another respect ban. But I love this pickup here. Sylvanas. Now, Illidan's biggest weakness is when he can't cast abilities. Silencing him is a great way to do it. So Wailing Arrow is a very powerful heroic to stop the Illidan's aggression when he dives into battle.
And on top of that, now they've also picked up a new Barak. So they have a very strong front line when it comes to the ability to stun because he has that Impale as well as the Burrow Charge. So it's going to be very nice for them. They have the Silence there. They've got slows too. They have all of the tools they need to be able to deal with that Cognitive. But what else are Cog going to throw at compLexity? Because I don't think they're done.
Oh man, we'll see pretty soon here. They do need to pick up a healer, and Rhaegar seems like the obvious choice, right? He pairs very, very well with Illidan. Tassadar is a great pickup as well. It can bring that damage and the shields. I'm kind of wondering about compLexity though. Will the compLexity actually pick up Cocoon here instead of the Locust Choreo Swarm, right? Because it puts out so much damage, allows them to be tanky, but you can actually isolate an Illidan or even a Tassadar and deal with Illidan right away.
He might, but I'm actually just shaking my head in disbelief right now. We're seeing another warriorless composition out of Cognitive. They're going Tassadar and Rhaegar. They're saying, we don't need Brightwing. We can still make this work out. And this is just so very unique. Cog really just trusting that Illidan is enough for that front line.
That is amazing. No warrior once again. Here is Rhaegar too, who will be central to making sure that Illidan stays alive with that ancestral healing. Man, what do you think? We're going to get to see another warriorless comp trick.
So just to give you a little bit of thought behind the whole warriorless thought or composition, it's because Cog believes that Illidan, if it's playing against Johanna or Leoric, you can dive past them, right? They don't have any instant mobility, so you just get past them, you deal with who you have to, and then you come back and take them out. With Leoric being here, that's definitely possible, but a new rep makes that a little bit harder. The Impales, the Burrow Charge that you saw earlier can be great killing devices. Uther now has a stun. If we wanted to, we could potentially have compLexity pick up a Divine Storm here, just enough to even take out Illidan that quickly. There are options here for compLexity compared to what we've seen before. Yeah,
like you said, New Rec is a great pickup here for that reason. They've got one more hero left at their disposal that they can grab. And I think they're going to go for some more damage. They've already got the double warrior. They have Sylvanas, a more traditional damage dealer. Makes a lot of sense, and someone's safe. Now, Jaina, she's not an option, but okay.
Okay, yes.
All right. First time today, I do believe we have Azmodan coming into play here. Lord of Sin.
There is no way to actually deal with the laser that will come out from Azmodan that actually will peel Illidan off so darn fast. The only thing that could potentially happen here for Cog is they could go for the Hunt. And the Hunt could be the way that they lock down that stun, but you're not going to use a one heroic just to lock down a stun, right? So I don't know what they're going to do here with diving into an Azmodan. We forgot about him, but he is so powerful against an Illidan diving comp.
Yeah, well, Azmodan is going to be really cool here. I mean, he can get those stacks on the Globe of Annihilation with the help of Leoric rather effectively. But I think we're just about ready for the second game of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, get excited for Game 2 between Cognitive and compLexity.
Moving into Cursed Hollow, we'll see if Cognitive's warriorless, stunless composition can be what it takes to take out compLexity and their Azmodan. We have Cognitive Gaming in blue with Glaurung, of course, on Illidan. iakona playing Rhaegar, Scylol on our Abathur, Hospital playing Jaina, and iVSlime on Tassadar.
And their challengers, compLexity, currently down 0-1, will be having their roster. It's going to be Jaximus playing as Sylvanas. Hans going to be on a new Barak. Leoric played by Caterpillars, with Trummel on the Asmodan himself, and Blinks playing the support role as Uther.
Trummel has not selected his level 1 talent yet. Could be Taste for Blood, but we've seen them go Master of Destruction before, go pure sieging, and do you think we'll see that here?
You know, versus Illidan, specking into the All-Shell Burn is a pretty cool idea, so I'm actually all for it, but oh, that's so unorthodox, and oh, they're doing it, Gilly.
Oh, Master of Destruction is here, and we will not have stacking for Taste for Blood on Global Annihilation, but it makes sense, right? This is a pretty big battleground, so it's hard to rotate between those lanes to try to pick up those stacks.
Look at the damage
damage! Oh my gosh!
Wow, so this is really interesting. They have Sylvanas to lock down the structures, and if Trummel channels that laser, well, it's going to fall so quickly. The solo top laner, Abathur, cannot defend this whatsoever.
Oh, Abathur, poor little baby, is doing nothing there. The Sylvanas and the Asmodan. Now, I do like that at least Cognitive realizing this, just going to have to go to a push somewhere else, but I don't think they could out-push that composition, Jake.
It's going to be really tough to out-push it, but Jaina in that top lane can help a little bit, right? It is going to be a 3v1, essentially. Abathur is going to opt to leave this lane pretty soon as it starts to take critical damage, but look at that part, already taking so much damage. As the laser channels, it becomes more powerful over time.
Absolutely, and they can even pick up a talent later on that will even increase that amount of power levels so that it'll do even more damage. But for now, are they just going to melt this down? There's nothing. There's a, finally, we get some minions out to push them away. Trummel also low on mana, but that fort is incredibly low.
And you notice he's not really spending a whole lot of mana on his other abilities, saving most of his mana for the All-Shell Burn to apply all of that massive structural damage. But we do have Glaurung diving forward, forcing Jaximus back, and we do see Asmodan did Hearth back to base to refill that mana tank.
Well, there's a little bit of a reprieve here for Cognitive, but I have a feeling it's not going to be for very long. Meanwhile, in the other lanes, we do have Leoric and Nubarak. Man, we've got a lot of A names.
Yeah, we do.
It's going to be tough, folks. But yeah, they're going to be able to lane, and they're pretty good at solo laning, especially that Leoric. But then also with Hans here, too, he's picked up the Legion of Beetles, so that's going to be very effective.
So I really like this composition by compLexity in the early game, right? If they can get a lot of additional damage done, they can get the additional experience for their team, and ideally have a nice level lead. But when we get to level 10, it's going to be so difficult for them to take these team fights. But Glaurung getting solo, the Envenom applied to him. The Globe comes out, double healing ward picked up here on the side of Cognitive, and Glaurung is able to stay alive.
Realize the double healing ward, I have to feel maybe it was like a reaction there for the second one on Tassadar, just to make sure that they have the ability to sustain through these tribute fights. But now Hospital getting caught out here, and this is good for compLexity because we do have a tribute spawning.
All right, we see Glaurung in the front line trying to go toe-to-toe, but the laser is doing so much damage. The heal just there at the last moment, but the dunk just barely misses.
Oh, Glaurung moving back just enough. Very good there, and tribute starting to be picked up here, but notice that we still have Soak in all of the lanes from compLexity. Very important to them that they continue to stay ahead in the experience like you mentioned.
Okay, well, those towers are starting to fall rapidly. Tassadar trying to shield it. Gonna be all for nothing because the All-Shell Burn happens to be too good.
I wonder if maybe Cognitive thinking that they would go for Taste for Blood didn't pick up that, well, these body blocks are pretty insane here, but Trummel will still be able to get away. Will Jaximus be so lucky? Yes. So there's a talent at level 1 that increases the shield on structures for Tassadar. I have to wonder if maybe there was a bit of a wait for Asmodan to try to wait until he picked up the Side Storm just to make sure he didn't get that.
Yeah, you might be right. That's a really cool idea, actually. So really nice play here by the Asmodan and compLexity, busting out the crazy strats here, realizing they need to bounce back in this matchup. They currently have a full level advantage with those level 7 talents, and they even went for the cleanse just to make sure even the slows can't stop them in this matchup.
Yeah, there is the laser once again pushing Illidan away. We also did have that talent pick up that increases the power levels too, as well as Sin's Grasp. So that's basically like his version of Envenom. So 2 Envenoms on their team. They do have that ability to have some, burst damage down here in the early game.
Talk about utility. Trummel able to throw the globe from that far away just to stall out the tribute a little bit more. Just another great power of Asmodan in this game, and the top fort has gone down to the solo push of Cattle here in the top lane.
Already a fort down, and not even a curse picked up for compLexity. They are really bringing out the meta strats here to try to get to game number 3 here. Working toward their level 10 heroic abilities. It's starting the push. It looks like it will be in the middle lane.
Yeah, and right now it's really just kind of back and forth, doing additional structure damage to these walls. compLexity always on the aggression, and Cog hasn't really done a whole lot himself. We saw the early damage done in the bottom lane at the start of the game. That's been it. And the rest of the game, New York marching heavily in the top, pushing that lane out all the way. I love this.
I do too. And you know what's really cool too is they've had Cognitive so much on the defensive that they haven't even really had the chance to go murking. Normally you would see Illidan doing that by himself, especially once he picks up Immolation at 4, but they've been so much on the back foot trying to stop this early push from compLexity that they haven't even been able to do that.
Yeah, they're realizing that this is their one chance. While this tribute is picked up, they're just conceding it and trying to get that bruiser camp in the middle lane, but that's that small window that compLexity has. They're just going to push in and take out these 2 towers, and that's going to get them level 10.
And we have heroic abilities, but we see Demonic Invasion. Yes, it will be Demonic Invasion for Azmodan, as well as the Wailing Arrow, March of the Black King, Divine Shield, and Cocoon. So that will be nice to be able to take out Rhaegar, maybe take someone down before he can Ancestral Heal.
Looks like it's pretty debated as to who's going to win this matchup, but there's the Demonic Invasion raining down, and the All Shall Burn on this bottom fort. The structural damage is ridiculous.
That is so much structural damage. That, I mean, already All Shall Burn does extra to structures, but just the fact that they've powered it up so much, it's melting, especially with Sylvanas.
Yeah, the General Hell helping in that too, just bumping up all those minions in the lane, and compLexity shredding through this boss on top of it. It looks like Cog has no idea this is happening, and with the fort already down in the bottom lane, this is a devastating situation.
I like this choice by Cognitive. They know they don't have their heroic abilities, so they can't pick up this tribute. They know they're going to be cursed, so they're trying to alleviate pressure by picking up the boss on top. compLexity haven't really responded to this. They're just now, I think, going to check. Not sure if it will be in time, though, as Cog have been working on it for a while. We'll have to see. They're getting very close. No, just in time picked up. But will Glaurung be able to escape?
All right, that's a small win here for Cog, getting that, using the double healing ward to sustain through this fight as they are all rotating up. But compLexity has that curse, and wow, Illidan gets knocked apart.
Oh, the Wailing Arrow melts the Illidan. Now Cognitive pick up their heroic abilities, but unfortunately, they have a curse against them, and they have Illidan down here, so the defense is going to be tougher. Already, this boss starting to work on keep towers, and Cognitive will be able to rotate through, pick up the last fort here or compLexity will be able to pick up the last fort here for Cognitive.
I really can't stress, though, how big of a deal it was that Cognitive was able to pick up a boss of their own, because this stops a lot of momentum that could have existed on the side of compLexity. From here, they just have to pick up the boss, push out their lanes, and now they have their level 10. Sure, they're 2 levels down, but level 10, it's much better for the team fights here on the side of Cognitive.
Yeah, can you imagine how much harder this push would have been against Cognitive during the curse if Azmodan would have been there on top of it? That would have been incredibly frightening.
I don't want to think about that. That's awful.
Okay, just don't.
All right, well, the Mercenaries being here picked up on the side of Cole, just continuing to rotate around the battleground, picking things up. 2-level advantage. They have those level 13 talents. Sylvanas, Anubarak still thinking about theirs. It is going to be Crushing Hope on New York, and Shrink Ray and Uther. This makes things a bit more difficult for Illidan in the front line.
Absolutely, yeah. The Shrink Ray not only is going to take down the damage that he can do for a time, but also reduce his movement speed, so it's going to be difficult for him to get away. Already, he could be slowed by Leoric, stunned by Nubarak too, but yeah, that Shrink Ray, even more control over that Illidan.
Okay, well, they're starting to push in. It looks like Scylol trying to flank there with his clone, but at the end of the day, it's probably just going to be a wasted heroic use. They thought they were going to push all the way in, and they prepared for it, and sometimes that's the risk you run when you use that ultimate evolution.
Yeah, there it is. Scylol going, like you mentioned before, a lot of times people will use it on the Jaina, but Cognitive really do like to have a double Illidan here. Now, they're still going to engage. Here comes the Metamorphosis, and as well as the Archon, they're hopping on to Jaximus, who is fairly low on mana, but still dishing out the damage. There is the All Shall Burn, and Illidan's going to mount a globe, trying desperately to pick up a takedown on iVSlime too. He's very low on mana, trying to hit the well just to stay alive, and they'll even be able to bait at the Ancestral Healing just to keep him alive.
The moment they force them past the wall, Trummel is channeling the All Shall Burn on the towers, and the wall falls like nothing. They're focusing on this keep at the 9-minute-and-a-half marker. It's going to be compLexity taking a keep in this game.
Oh, fantastic job by them. That keep is so incredibly low here. Globe's going to go in to continue to take it down. And they did have shields and the Abathur symbiote, so somehow barely Cognitive were able to defend it. But they don't have a mule to be able to heal it up, so that is permanent damage already on that heat.
You know, I thought for sure they'd get it, but they took the safe route and they just backed on away. And more and more teams are starting to do that. Situations where they might lose 1 or 2 heroes for picking up a keep, is it really worth it? No, Cog's gonna get too much experience in return for that, so they just back on out.
Yes, the rebound experience would have been big. Also, they would have had somebody down, so they couldn't continue their momentum there as much. It would have given time for Cognitive to come back, and most importantly, compLexity is down a game in this match, so they're going to play a little bit safer at least. They really don't want to do anything that could throw away the lead that they've gained.
Okay, well, they're going to pick up this Bruiser camp and make their way over to the Tribute. They're on even talent footing for this moment, still 2 levels down. Cog needs to try to make something happen here and now over the Tribute, but no, they're just conceding it. They just know they have to push up that middle lane because of how weak that keep is.
Yeah, they did a really good job of making that call. They were already up a Tribute, so it wasn't at all an important one there for compLexity. But because of the level advantage for compLexity now, there is the potential that they'll have to give up the next one too, because compLexity could have those 16 talents. So it's very important that Cog get to level 16, get on the same footing before there's a Tribute that would give another curse to compLexity.
It's going to be very difficult, though, because level 16, like you said, is right around the corner here for compLexity, and they've already been on the aggression throughout this game. When you have a talent tier advantage like that, 2 to 3 levels up in experience, oh, that's the time you want to fight. But Glaurung going forward. The Abathur has cloned Illidan as well, so double Illidan, but doesn't matter. So much damage being thrown out. Metamorphosis has to be used very early in the fight, and we do see the Wailing Arrow going up, connecting there on Tassadar, doing so much damage. Divine Shield keeping that Asthma alive, burning through the clone. But now the Archon chasing Trummel out. It's a beautiful ancestral heal. Will keep Glaurung standing, and with the Abathur has the damage output, I think Cog might actually have a favorable fight. No, I am completely wrong.
That skeletal sweep to the face of Illidan, and he was gone. iakona now trying to run for his life, as is Hospital, but she's slowed, and there's the Drain Hole pulling away the health from Jaina. She will go down. Only Abathur and Rhaegar remaining, and Demonic Invasion immediately drops.
As soon as things look like they're going well, Leoric ruins everyone's day. The skeletal swings are hurting so much. The Crushing Hope, he's really specking into the Drain Hope, and I love that in this build. And now with that advantage, the middle keep does go down, and they're working on the aggressive boss on the side of Cognitive game.
Yeah, and this is, they could easily, oh, they're gonna back off here. They see the vision, the far sight there from Rhaegar did show it, and they, even though Jaina was down, not quite comfortable with going for it because they also didn't have Sylvanas, but they're not content to let Cognitive have any advantages either. So they're kind of willing to let Cog try to go for this, and then they would try to stop it, jumping in on them when they get low.
That is far too risky for Cog to do. 3 levels down, fighting in that throw pit. But this is kind of like a last-ditch effort. Constantly getting vision with that far sight, like you mentioned. An uncommon pickup for Rhaegar, but it's been doing a lot of good for them in this game.
Yeah, it really has. They really need to be able to see those rotations there because of the fact that, you know, if they rotate onto structures, they're going to take them out instantly. But now we have another battle as Metamorphosis has started into a Wailing Arrow, though, and already we see Hans chasing down Glaurung. He's getting fairly low, and the Ancestral Heal has to come out. iVSlime in the back, fairly low, but trying to throw out his healing with Archon, but Jaina will go down. Now the Divine Storm, the Dimensional Shift just barely keeping him alive, but a dunk will take out Tassadar.
Beautiful dunk there. I mean, once you spec into Also Burn and pick up Marstripson, no one is safe. Just crab walking forward, burning through the health bars of Jaina, and then sealing the deal on Tassadar with that dunk. This Asmodee is absolutely decimating Cognitive.
We saw them use it once before in the ESL playoffs, but obviously they know it. They've practiced it more because they are rocking it here. Now they did get cursed, the beauty of Abathur to be able to deep tunnel in and pick up that tribute. So they will start to look to protect their structures here. Not going to try to get a win right off the bat.
Yeah, this is just a really tight spot here for Cognitive. They're cursed. They will be cursed soon at this rate. And, oh, they are cursed right now, excuse me. We have this boss marching down here while they're picking up yet another boss on the battleground.
Yeah, once you have that boss, you can, one boss, generally a lot of teams like to rotate through it and pick up the next one. And since they're melting it so incredibly quickly, it's really nice too that they are cursed, and really it's just a defensive curse from Cognitive. There's nothing they can do with it. They can't push. They had a boss pushing against their keep. They had to defend that. They weren't even able to defend this boss, and now there's another boss. No reprieve for Cognitive. The only nice thing is that they picked up 16.
16 is nice, but oh, they're constantly on the defense in this matchup, and compLexity is almost 19. A 3-level lead is astronomical in Heroes of the Storm, and Cog is really on the back foot.
I like the pickup of Icy Veins, though, that for Cognitive, at least they are able to get some more damage out of Jaina. And it does seem like compLexity has really been favoring trying to take out Illidan first. So they do feel like they are okay to not pick up the Ice Block, really confident in their positioning to be able to pick that up.
Yeah, the other really cool thing about this is like, you're like, oh, well, if Asmoden's the one ruining them, like destroying them in these matches, you should just focus Asmoden. But he actually has one of the highest health pools in the entire game. And every time they try to focus him, Divine Shield comes out at the last moment. And then the whole team is just taking way too much damage in turn.
Yeah, he's almost like a third warrior for them. He's so incredibly tanky. So now we've got the push. Wow, this lower keep is about to go down now too. And compLexity have basically put Cognitive so on the back foot that they're just having to sit in their base and try to defend the keeps that they have. And that's not going to work for forever. They're eventually going to have to get out here. That looks like they want to do just that right now.
All right, nice haunting wave, getting Jaximus out of there. The Wraith walk up the Orc will allow him to escape as well. Just the constant pressure, right? The General of Hell can be cast across the battleground, push out a lane. The Beetles that are summoned by Anubarak constantly marching forward as well. I mean, look at this. They're in their base every single moment, it seems, pushing out minions.
Right, and that gives compLexity time to rotate around, steal some mercenary camps, grab their own, even just push the lanes that Cognitive are not currently trying to defend. So they're everywhere that Cognitive are just not, which is, you know, pushing the lanes and getting them push.
All right, well, they found Leoric a bit on his own, and Illidan diving forward with that hat, but here is the rest of the team. Glaurung backing away as soon as that channel of the All Shall Burn is on him.
I liked Glaurung's use of Metamorphosis earlier in a fight in order to break that channel of the All Shall Burn. So we could potentially see that again in a fight, and it's a very good use of it.
It is, but so far it hasn't worked out enough for them. 3 levels down, 8-1 in terms of the takedowns, and level 20 has just been reached here on the side of compLexity, granting them those Storm talents.
Let's see what they've picked up. We have 2 Bolts of the Storm for Asmoden and Sylvanas. Rewind for Nubarak, so more stuns and more control. The Orc still undecided, but we do have Redemption for Uther, so now even more difficult to take out of the fights.
All right, well, this tribute almost available compLexity going to be picking up, putting their count at 2. And at this point in time, I mean, I don't know what COG can do. They're on the back foot constantly. They need to soak so much experience to get those Storm talents themselves. If compLexity oversteps their bounds, that's Cognitive's best chance in this game. But this bottom keep is falling so quickly.
Look at that All Shall Burn. We're going to have a fight as Archon comes in here too. Hospital coming around from the side, trying to get the flank in and throw out her damage as much as possible. The Cocoon is going to take her that right away. Already Ultimate Evolution is down. We've got stuns on top of Glaurung, but he's so far being able to deal enough damage that we do have the Divine Shield coming out here, but he is starting to have to go back. iVSlime so incredibly low. The All Shall Burn pushing back Glaurung.
Yeah, nice rotations here at this, thus far in this fight. COG just going in and then slipping on out, but they're not able to ever get a kill. There's just too much tankiness. They try to go for Sylvanas. Guess what? You don't have any stuns. She's just going to slip away, and that's the only target that isn't hyper-tanking on the entire team's composition.
But Cognitive are at least doing well enough to be able to get back out of fights because they know that if they lose a team fight here too much, compLexity are just going to walk in and take out their core. So at least with the fact that they've been able to sustain through that, they're getting closer to their Storm talents, although they still don't have them here, and we have a very important tribute fight. This could be the moment that compLexity need to finish out this game.
All right, Farsight gets eyes on Cattle and Trummel, but this tribute could grant another curse to compLexity, which means COG has to make a decision and go in immediately. A lot of splash damage being done from Sidestorm and Blizzard, but is it enough? Glau backing up, 1 healing word, throw down. There's the second, and Glau is in the front line, wailing away at Cattle, but Hardened Shield being used. The clone will dissipate, and Cattle is backing out of the fight with a beautiful impale going out from Anubarak.
Glaurung is trying to wreck. He's got the Metamorphosis, but there are stuns into stuns. Jaximus though has to Haunting Wave out, and Illidan will go down. That's such a central part to the composition of Cognitive, and now compLexity are picking up the tribute and knowing that without Illidan, Cognitive immediately have to back off.
I don't know if they can defend this push. Only the top keep remains for them, and they will be cursed for the next full minute. It is going to be a hero advantage with Illidan down right now, but they're doing so much damage, they might get the kill. Yes, that is Uther that falls in this fight.
Lynx is a nice one, though, to lose for compLexity because he does have that redemption, so he will be back up. And compLexity want to be able to get a boss, to push with the boss into the core, knowing that even if Cognitive choose to attack them, the boss will still work on the core because it will go straight there. The keep already down in boss.
Yeah, the boss we picked up rather quickly here. There it is. The curse will expire in another 30 seconds, but that's plenty of time, and the shields are already almost down on the core here of Cognitive. Gilly, I think we're going to be going to a Game 3 very soon.
I think you may be right. It will come down to the wire for both of these teams as it's getting very, very close, and we don't see compLexity pushing with this boss right away. He's just trying to distract, maybe trying to heal back up before they make the push of that boss, knowing that the shields already were taken down a lot on the core.
Yeah, 92% for the core. The boss sitting about 80% of its health. The entire team is pushing on in here. Anubarak has been a little bit behind. Jaximus gets the heal that he needs, and they're pushing on in. Shrink Ray was used a big metamorphosis, but I don't think it matters. The core is falling rapidly, and we're going to a third game here in this match.
I wouldn't have our final series of the day in any other way than going to a Game 3, and I cannot wait to see who will take this and move out of this group.
Man, I gotta say, compLexity played them so intelligently. I loved it. They played the map and they played the strategy to the fullest potential that they could. And it seemed like COG couldn't do anything against it. They tried, they had some crazy strats that they tried to pull off, but it did not work out for them. And we're gonna show you why in a couple of seconds with a few replays. But in terms of team fights and everything, Illidan just could not get in there and make the plays that was needed to actually win those engagements. So let's go ahead, let's jump in the replays and look at it here. So it all starts off here with the amazing beginning. You can actually see here that the towers are taken out very, very quickly, and these towers being taken out allows for compLexity to take a lead in this game, which means that they can't be fearful when they take map control. All they cared about was Jaximus and Trummel keeping all lanes pushed. They had Blinks always sitting next to Trummel so you could save them if need be. Here you see a fort taking down, demonic invasion, helping out so much as well. So you see now one fort being taken down, all the walls have been destroyed this much in the game at 6 minutes, by the way, and they are level 10. Now, when you actually get the team fights, all Trummel has to do is pop All Shall Burn on top of Illidan. Illidan tries here to be very intelligent and uses Metamorphosis to get out of that huge laser, but Blinks just sitting next to Trummel the entire time will support him, Divine Shields, heals, and then everyone else that is here for COG is trying to jump in to put damage on Trummel, but all the AoE from Jaximus, from the swings from Cattle, and then Hans, the beetles flying around are doing so much damage that Trummel eventually is going to get another beautiful All Shall Burn up with that Mark to Sin talent, by the way, and takes down another fight. Overall, compLexity just had this down to a T, and you could see the composure, the discipline, and how intelligent of a counter strategy it was.
You know, we've seen Azmodan played in the past, but never in that manner as a counter to Illidan. And that's just how hard these teams have trained for this event.
Yeah, they've been training very hard, and let's remember too that this has been a very long day for these teams too. They've been playing throughout the day, so the ability for compLexity to still be able to think on the fly of a strategy to be able to stop that Illidan, that super strong Illidan too, with 2 supports there for him, and then be able to execute it so well, knowing that they're down a game in this series. Brilliant play by them.
Well, the score is tied up 1-1. We're going to go to a quick break and set up for the final game of this evening. Guys, stay with us. We'll be back in just a few.
Strongest asset is that we're really, really good friends with each other, and we still take the game really seriously. We're determined, we practice really hard, and we're here to win.
We all get along, we're all friends, and you know, we all laugh with each other.
When we started the team, we had a pretty different roster than we do now, and something that happened was people were content with just being a pro team. To me personally, that's not enough. We're through that now, and the team feels better than it's ever been before. We have a saying on our team, you win or you learn.
Past victories only mean so much. Doesn't matter how well you did a month ago or 2 months ago, it matters how well you're doing right now.
I think that all of us are pretty confident with each other, and that plays a huge factor compared to a lot of other teams.
It's a whole nother level of like our team environment.
I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for practice. It's gonna be great. We're here to win, and we all have the same goal.
As king, I dedicated my life to Tristram and served its people with all my heart. In exchange, they called me a madman and betrayed me. But I have returned, stronger destroy me. But I cannot be killed again. Here in the Nexus, I will have my revenge. I am Leoric, the Skeleton King. And I will only choose allies who I know will never betray me.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back here to the America's Championship. We're here with the final game of the evening. My name is Solid Jake. I'm joined here with Gillian Trixler, and what an excellent match we've had thus far.
It's been fantastic. We've seen a lot of really cool strategies from both Cognitive and Complexity, but this is it. This is down to the ace match, and whoever wins this moves on out of the group. Whoever loses it now has to face Relics, who's waiting in the wings.
Game number 3 is going to be very interesting. Does Cog move into a different way of playing this game right now? We've seen it work out for him a number of times, but really after that match, Complexity looks like they have their number. What is the new number that's going to be pulled out? That's the question. Do they do a more ranged assassin type of comp? I know they've been working on that. Having 3 ranged assassins can maybe help out. But then again, we've mentioned earlier, Complexity can fill any roles. They love going for counter picks. Are they going to try and do it here? Are they going to try to make something happen? I don't know, man. All I know is I'm excited for game number 3. It'll be the last match of the night. And Jake, tell me who's going to win it.
Well, we're going to Battlefield of Eternity, and this kind of shakes things up a bit. Sometimes we see the teams prioritize heroes like Zagara, even Nazebo, heroes that have a lot of safe poke on those Immortals when you're fighting over them. So it all comes down to who is better on this battleground with their compositions and how they approach it, because Asmoden could definitely work here, right? If you're going to get that all-shall burn build, you're going to try to channel down the Immortal, very powerful. But I don't think we'll see Cog running with Illidan once more.
I don't think so either, man. It's just, it kind of got hurt a little bit there, man. And also, Illidan on this battleground in particular is kind of hard to pull off if you're getting poked down a lot, which could happen in the middle of the map, as you were just mentioning. So, Gilly, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see more of that safe poke for sure.
Sure.
As maybe even a Toronto too, because the Hunter's Mark can really help take down those Immortals as fast as possible. And the Immortals, they are so important here. You know, sometimes we'll see battlegrounds where teams are okay with, giving up an objective for something else. But on this one, giving up an Immortal, losing an Immortal, and especially an Immortal that is fully shielded, is so incredibly difficult to deal with.
They push hard, they hurt hard, and well, but it's very different from the new battleground when it comes to Infernal Shrines, because that's all about the Punishers, the John Cena I like to call them.
Dun, 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 dun.
Because those guys, the Punishers, they're gonna go for the enemy heroes, but with the Immortals, they march down the lane and they focus on the structures. Actually, they'll pretty much ignore the heroes except for their AoE spells that they throw out around them.
Yeah, and I'm curious going into this battleground. We've seen Complexity talk a little bit about how they want to move into Rexxar. Could Rexxar be their choice here? Misha, flooding around the middle of the map can really do a lot of work and be very annoying for the opposing team to deal with. Then you can have Rexxar kind of dealing with the Immortal on the side. You can play a little bit more defensively. There's so many questions here for what Complexity wants to pull out. We've seen so many heroes from them that it's kind of hard to guess what they want to do on this battleground.
Yeah, and if they like Rexxar a lot, there's actually a big case for Rexxar and Abathur. Because it's a pretty cool synergy. Abathur is great on this battleground when everyone's focusing all their time fighting over those Immortals in the center of the map. Abathur's getting split soak. And then you throw the Abathur hat on top of Misha. It's a lot of safe pressure to do some damage on those Immortals while you fight in there as well.
Yeah, and not only that, but Abathur with that Toxic Nest build, the middle area is so incredibly open in this battleground, and there's a lot of places where you can put those nests and then kite heroes through that. And then once you pick up that vile nest, it's a 50% slow. You can really capitalize on that, and they are super annoying.
They are so annoying to deal with, and here, really, that's one thing that might get me a little salty, man. I start, oh, this Abathur, why can't he go a different build? But yeah, it's one thing that you have to deal with. Another thing that I kind of want to question here is whether or not we'll have another ban on Brightwing. Brightwing seems to be the major key to success there for Illidan to go so darn aggressive. Iakona with the phase shift shield, with the extra spell reduction, has helped out Illidan so much, and he's really supported him so well. So will we have an immediate ban here from Complexity on that hero?
I almost expect Kong to shake things up and go a bit of a different route. I would like to see them kind of go back to their other roots where it's all about the combos. Johanna Kerrigan, something they've done a lot in the past. Taronda with Butcher, a lot of very successful in previous tournaments, and we haven't seen a whole lot of that out of them here today, right? They've had good success with Illidan, but shake things up.
You know who we haven't seen in a long time from COG? It's actually Kerrigan. Kerrigan is a hero, although in my opinion, pretty hard to pull off on this battleground because of that poking. She can be a hero that really sets you up to just straight up win immediately in the early game. Grab that aggression and you can take out a Immortal very quickly. And as you move to the mid to late game, if you have an Uther, you can really use that to your advantage as well. And that might be a good way for COG because they love being in team fights just to start things and get it done very, very quickly.
Right, if you're not going to have the safe poke that we mentioned before to try to take down the Immortals that way, focus on the Immortals, then what the other composition that you can do generally is to have that aggression, defend yours, wipe them at yours, force them back, so then you can deal maybe not as fast of damage to their Immortal, but just the fact that you push them away, then you can go after theirs instead of just focusing on the Immortal straight from the get-go.
Well, we are ready to roll here for the final draft of the evening, and I am excited to see how both of these teams are going to approach Battlefield of Eternity.
All right, looking into, we've talked about the strategies that we could see. Now we're actually going to find out what complexity and what COG want to do. The game plan is very, very important here for the draft. You could potentially pick up a few heroes that could take you into the game number 3 and win it and move you forward in the winner's bracket, setting you up nicely for tomorrow. First ban here, Abathur is now gone.
I love the first ban on Abathur.
Me too.
Because it not only kind of dissuades the Illidan Abathur, right? So they're dissuading Illidan, but they're also just the fact that we talked about how annoying Abathur can be on this battleground. So no matter what, they're going for several different contingencies with Abathur instead of just taking out Illidan.
Kael'thas will be the follow-up ban here from COG, and why not? He's one of those heroes that if he just hits that chain bomb, it could really throw you off. This allows COG to be aggressive, group up like we've been seeing a lot in team fights, because they are very good at being near each other and help each other out, and prevent them from not going with that strategy in team fights.
Oh, but they're letting Zeratul through, and complexity is going to pick him up very quickly. That Jaximus has shown his prowess with this hero going, and he's very much just, he's like Zuna, but he's a little bit less him, but when it comes to the precision, he is certainly there.
Little reserved can go a long way with Zeratul. You never want to get that hero picked off, and it looks like COG will moving into Jaina. We've been seeing her all night. The question is always, what is the follow-up? COG going straight into Uther. So Jaina, Uther for COG, these are great pickups, especially here in the early game.
Oh, absolutely. You have to take the Uther away from the Zeratul, so it's not a Divine Shield and Zeratul on top of that, because that would be so incredibly difficult to deal with. And Jaina, a good pickup here as a good damage dealer versus Zeratul, because she can get that frost armor, so a little bit safer of a damage dealer, even though she is fairly squishy. Now, complexity of 2 more. Looks like Leoric will be their first choice. Will they go for damage, or maybe a support of their own in case they're concerned about, oh no, it's just going to be Leoric Arthas right away?
They're best friends. I mean, I believe it. We always see them play together for good reason. That front line, the control, the zoning, the slows, and the damage that they provide for your team is so very powerful, and they both have very similar looking helmets, so it makes sense.
And the undead capabilities as well can be a little creepy for the opposing team to actually ever want to go into, but you are correct. These guys are very robust. They can get into fights very nicely. Army of the Day can be great, but Syndergosa is also a great thing to pick up here. If you can get a strong Syndergosa with a strong Immortal, you can break down any four or any keep that you put your eyes on. So the options are there for complexity. COG falls up into Johanna because they're going to have to pick up this hero because she is one of those heroes that is definitely up there. However, Leoric with Drain Hope can really peel her down very quickly.
The Zagara and Taronta bans make perfect sense here, and there is Kerrigan, the queen of blades. Finally, we see Glaurung's Kerrigan, and I am so ready to see that aggression. It was a great call, by the way, Trixler, in calling that early on.
So I got lucky.
Kerrigan plus Johanna has so much power. She's got the Primal Grasp of Impaling Blades. You pair that with Condemn, and it's absolutely disgusting. Level 10, you throw the Blessed Shield in the mix, and it's Stun City.
Yeah, Blessed Shield, Divine Shield, Kerrigan just goes in. Jaina helping out with the shield so Kerrigan can chase down and make sure to get those auto attacks in as well. This comp altogether just synergizes very well if they can get the key engaged. But Leoric and Arthas can prevent that from happening nicely, so watch out for that. Complexity, however, does have a chance to get Rexar here. Rexar, with Misha's charge, shuts down Kerrigan really, really well. And that's something they could pick up. Raynor will be the first follow-up. What is that 5th hero?
Well, most likely we'll see a support there. I'm wondering what it will be, though, but let's take a look at Raynor, as he's a pretty interesting pickup here, but he does do a lot of auto attack damage, and that's what we mentioned about being able to deal consistent damage to those Immortals. So that's a really nice pickup there for them. They will still need their final pick here. What will it be? We've seen them experiment with Karazim.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're seeing Raynor over someone like Nazeebo. When you have this big front line,
Right.
Nazeebo has a lot of excellent safe poke on this battleground, and on top of that, Ravenous Spirit, well, there's a big case for it here. Sure, Kerrigan, Johanna, they can get in there and disrupt Ravenous Spirit, but if you have that amazing positioning here with a big front line that can zone for you, it can certainly do wonders for your team.
Well, with the comp from compLexity, it looks like they just want to be the ones that start the engagements. And sometimes when you're playing Nazeebo, it's hard to get those engagements to be forced. Rhaegar will be the last pickup here for compLexity. But yeah, you're right, Nazeebo can be great on here, but it looks like compLexity wants to be a little more aggressive. Raynor can fend for himself with the heals, especially with Ancestral Healing being there as well. So that allows Arthas, Leoric, and Zeratul to work as a team to get to that back line. Fifth pickup coming for Cog. What are you thinking, Gilly?
Well, first I want to say Syndragosa plus Hyperion actually does so much to structures.
Ooh, yeah.
So if they can do that with an Immortal, that'd be pretty sick. Now Cognitive, they have a big pickup like you mentioned. I was going to say Nazeebo, but Tassadar works too. Now they've got not only the Divine Shield for Kerrigan, but Plasma Shield for him too. She is going to be very, very difficult to take down.
They've really picked a liking for Tassadar in this tournament. Cog is a team that didn't play a whole lot of Tassadar prior to this event, but it's done a lot of good for them in this tournament, and I'm loving the pickups at this point.
Yeah, I know. I really think that was to iVSlime too, because he is the player for them too. So picking him up, having a little bit of a different synergy with him, has brought around this Tassadar play. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and it's Tassadar is a hero that, again, hasn't got much play in the last month or so. So some people kind of forget how strong that Archon can really be and how much damage it can put out. And with Warriors being a huge pickup for a lot of teams, they kind of naturally group up, and now suddenly you have splash damage and damage hitting them. That is a world of hurt, and you're seeing Tassadar pulling that off. So with the entire comps being picked up, we're definitely going into game number 3, the last match of the night. It's going to be fun.
Battlefield of Eternity will be the final battleground of the evening. And one of these teams will advance to the next round with this win. The team that falls here, they will go to the lower bracket for another chance to advance to the championship bracket, which will be concluding tomorrow afternoon.
All right, well, we are going into the game, so we'll say goodbye to Trixler, and we'll see you afterward for some awesome analysis. Here we go. Let's check out Battlefield of Eternity.
This is it, Gilly. One more game will secure one team a spot in the championship bracket tomorrow. The other team will have to continue their battle with an additional match in the lower bracket. Cognitive on the blue side with Glaurung playing as Kerrigan. Iakona on Uther. Scylol going to be playing Johanna. Hospital will be playing Jaina, and iVSlime rounds up the team as Tassadar once more.
And their opponents and rivals tied in this series. We have compLexity with Jaximus playing Zeratul, Hans on Leoric, cattlepillar playing Arthas, Trummel on Raynor, and rounding it out, the support and the captain, Blinks on Rhaegar.
Okay, here we go. We do see there's actually just a heavy presence here in the bottom lane for compLexity. They'll probably just try to find a single hero to pick off, but pretty much the same idea here for Cog. They have Tassadar in the top lane, Scylol sitting here in the bush waiting, and then we have 3 members lurking in the bottom.
Yeah, realizing that this lurking from Cognitive is something that they are known to do, and of course is very, very scary with the Kerrigan. We're seeing compLexity be very passive and completely fine with doing so. There's no reason to step outside of that gate with the Kerrigan here, but it will allow Cognitive to start getting this lane pushed, hopefully draining some of the ammo on the tower. Then look, Howling Blast, you've been spotted, Glaurung.
Yeah, that's actually just great map awareness here. And things are pretty even at this point. Tassadar just dimensional warping to safety, stalling out or disrupting the Drain Hope channel from Leoric. Anything weird on his talents? I don't think so. We have Give Me More on Uther that's going to give him a lot of sustain, and everything else looks pretty much normal.
We do have Seasoned Marksman on Zeratul, so we're not going to be looking at him picking up globes. So he will be trying to lane, and we may see him even trying to leave those long Immortal battles to make sure to clear out the lanes, just so he is continually trying to build that up. Siphoning Impact for Kerrigan, so we will be looking, instead of the sharpened blades for more damage, looking for more sustainability there in terms of keeping alive.
Yeah, I'm loving these new Kerrigan styles, like the hypermobility with the Ravage diving all over the place with Clean Kill and all the cool talents that exist here in her kit. The Immortals spawning in just another 10 seconds. Cog in an excellent position. If they rotate through this right side of the battleground, they will launch themselves, and Cattle and Blinks are on their way up.
Oh, they might be looking to go right by there, and they're...
Oh, they knew! They expected expected this, and a beautiful play there by Cattle.
Oh, so fantastic. The Howling Blast on point and moving away just in the nick of time to avoid that Primal Grasp. Now we will see the team starting to go after the Immortals. Some teams will choose to just attack right away. Some are going to look at defending. It's always nice to get in a team fight underneath your opponents, or underneath your own Immortal, so that your opponents might get stunned, as they do throw out a couple of different stuns, like we're seeing right there.
Yeah, they're already doing so much damage, but both teams are actually. We have Cognitive in the advantageous position right now, getting just a bit more damage done to the Immortal before they reset and reposition, and immediately they're throwing everything they have here. They should be the ones getting the first Immortal of this game.
Yeah, both teams really just trying to work on the Immortal, not even trying to defend at all, really thinking that they can do it. It's down to the wall here, but it will be actually Cognitive who will be able to just barely get the Immortal here.
Does it even have shields?
No, it's the smallest amount of shields possible.
Okay, well, we do see the Immortal being picked up, and it will make its way up here to the top lane in the battleground, where Cog is getting in position to push with it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. A lot of times when it's so low like that, you can typically see teams kind of try to split push here, but they're going to at least try to get some towers down with it, knowing that it's fairly weak. There's some melee, a lot of melee actually on the side of compLexity, so they would have to kind of poke their heads out in that regard, and they might be able to throw some damage on them with that, but they won't be able to pick up a tower here. Looks like a second tower will fall too, and they'll be content with the amount of experience they got there. Also soaking still in the bottom lane too with Tassadar, as they continue to just slightly edge ahead with the experience.
Yeah, just thinking about their composition, I actually really enjoy their comp when you come to pushing with it, because the Immortals throw down those stuns on the ground. If you can pull them in with the Condemn or the Primal Grasp of Kerrigan and just combo the stuns with your Immortal, that's such a big power that you don't have normally.
It really is, and then you've also got Jaina there to slow them down with the Snowstorm too, so it's going to be able to hit a lot more people if they get pulled in there. And then the split push of Tassadar is very, very nice too, so that they still do have the ability to really get a split push going, even though it is just Tassadar. Look, these towers are out of ammo here, and it's just been Tassadar down here.
Yeah, he's got such good lane clear. He's got such good sustain for his team. A very versatile hero, and this is giving Cog the opportunity to pick up those top stage camps. Now they've made their way to the bottom, where they're picking up yet another camp of the Goat Boys.
Yeah, already putting compLexity on the back foot here. And if they continue to grab these, they've even still got their Shaman camp to be able to get to. Then they can hope to maybe get the jump on the next Immortal phase for compLexity, because they'll still be trying to clear their lanes.
Yeah, but Cole's doing a good job soaking. Glaurung taking a lot of damage, but pulling in at 2 targets. The stun goes down from iakona, but Glaurung is taking so much damage, has to turn around, and he does fall, trading 1-for-1 with Arthas.
Oh, but Trummel fairly low here. Blink's going to be able to keep him alive. 1-for-1 though. Pretty good for both sides, but there is still this push happening as the Immortals start to spawn. So we will see if they're able to clear it out in time. Should be okay, but the Cosmo is pushing now. They force compLexity to decide, or the Shaman, do we defend the Shaman, or do we get the jump on starting to attack the Immortal?
Yeah, that's the big benefit of stalling this out. It's kind of akin to Haunted Mines, where you pick up the golems defensively, right? This is a split focus situation where you're going to have that fallen Shaman camp pushing, and you can then put your complete focus on the enemy team's Immortal.
Yeah, and those Shaman do serious work too, especially if you're far away from them. It takes a long time to rotate to them, but we've got an engagement here as Trummel is falling so incredibly low. Raynor already out of this fight.
And the combo of Kerrigan pulling in Arthas. Cattle will fall as well. The 2 warriors going down very early. Raynor and Arthas.
Cognitive really showcasing the power of this Kerrigan, actually picking up the Zerglings there, talent. It's not one we'd see a whole bunch there for Kerrigan at level 7. But stun on top of Jaximus, blinks away. Is going to have to try to take the safe way back, realizing that that was full of peril, trying to head straight to the floor.
Okay, but during this time, we do see that Leoric was able to step up here to the top, try to force Glaurung off, and they've caught up a little bit here in terms of the damage done to the Immortals. Just about 50% health here on the red team Immortal. They will now reset for the second phase.
I think you like to call this the halftime show as they go to battle and then head back out. And guys, look at this poll, so incredibly close. Who do you think is going to take it? You can still vote. Tweet using the hashtag HeroesWC and a hashtag of whatever team you think will take the series.
It's another race here to do the most damage with Jaina showing up here. It will be Cognitive once again picking up an Immortal. This time, I believe it will go down to the bottom portion of the battleground.
it's really interesting that we're not really seeing them try to defend too much their immortals. It's really just been about trying to race. It's almost like a base race, but it's an immortal race instead. But at least compLexity can deal a lot of damage to the fact that even though, yes, they have an immortal pushing against them, it doesn't do too much. It's not so snowbally because of the fact that they don't really have a shield on it.
And here they are pushing on forward. They're going to try to eliminate this fort. Level 10 just about attained. That's the big story here. Cog knows they're going to have heroics first. Here they go, picking up Blessed Shield, Maelstrom, Divine Shield, Archon, and it should be the Water Ellie. There it is. And now it's really just Cole waiting for the heroics.
Yeah, compLexity steps completely back, knowing that there's no way they want to deal with everything that Cognitive can dish out now with their heroic abilities. And that does allow them to continue the push a little bit more than maybe they would have otherwise, getting another tower down in front of this first keep.
Okay, well, the Immortal does end up falling, and Cog finds their favorite hiding place where Cattle walks by, and the damage is being thrown out. But the heal from Rhaegar, trying, and a big VP is thrown out to buy some time for the team to get here in time.
Oh, Jaximus going down. The Ancestral Heal does connect after the Void Prison is finished, but there is a Divine Shield on top of the Maelstrom, and it is melting Hans. He does Wraith Walk away, still nobody down on the side, but Cattle is getting pulled back into a hammer of Jesse. Barely staying alive. Army of the Dead, not quite enough to keep Arthas safe.
You know, a great defense by compLexity, but it was just a little bit too little to save all of their team. Only Arthas fell in that battle. A nice setup by Cognitive.
compLexity at least seems drained Cognitive enough that Cog aren't going to go for these very forward Shaman and be too little too risky. So compLexity in that regard, still getting some pressure back on the battleground. They may even rotate up and try to get the Khazra there on top too, since that's where their Shaman are pushing. But no, it looks like instead they're concerned about the defense and how far this lane is pushed bottom because it is already at keep structures.
Yeah, and just one mercenary camp left on the battleground. We're going to see compLexity clean up this bruiser camp here in the bottom, the siege camp, excuse me. The Goat Boys, I like to call them.
The Goat Boys. We've got talent, and we talked a little bit about the heroic abilities, but we do have a cleanse there for Rhaegar. So realizing the power of Cognitive, we're not going to see maybe the Earth Shield or something like that. They realize that they really need the cleanse because of all of the stuns and the control that Cognitive do have.
Yeah, absolutely crucial in this situation. And Uther's just going for the full heals. He's got that Wave of Light upgraded.
Yeah, I really do like that Wave of Light and the Boundless Conviction builds there. So no cleanse on there's not really too much they have to cleanse against, but we've got another fight here happening, and Trummel getting melted so fast. Ancestral Heal is going to maybe
I think he hit the wrong target there. That's not what they wanted to have happen. A big VP thrown out, buying some time, but does it matter? Blinks is very low. Cattle has the Army of the Dead, and Cognitive realizes not worth pressure. Let's go take care of those Immortals.
Absolutely. They've taken down Raynor now, a primary damage dealer for compLexity. Now compLexity are still maybe going to try to defend at this point because they still do have the potential of catching somebody who gets stunned off of this Immortal. So they could look to do that, realizing Cognitive going to back off and try to get maybe some other pushes going. Heal back up too. After a big fight, you really don't want to overstay your welcome at these Immortals because you really can get a fight turned on you very quickly.
And yeah, this is so smart by Cognitive. They're backing up, they're tapping the well, and they're picking up this camp of Fallen Shaman. Now they can go back to full power with a talent tier advantage as they reach level 13 just a moment from now, and they find Jaximus out of position. Oh, he blinks over the wall. The shield glare is there to reveal him, and iakona is rotating around. Jaximus hides in the corner. Is it enough? The permograph does it, and he does go down.
Oh, now we've got compLexity once again with one of their big damage dealers down into this Immortal phase, and they still don't have 13. You mentioned it. Cognitive now have picked that up, and they've got to be feeling very confident here as we move into this Immortal phase, because yes, they've gotten the last two Immortals, but they've been very, very close when it comes to shield. This time, they have the potential to get a much stronger one and get a lot more damage done to compLexity structures.
In compLexity, they're just sitting on the defensive. They know they cannot fight right now. They have to wait. Zeratul, he's back in action, making his way back onto the battleground, but 50% of the health on that Immortal has already gone down, and come Cognitive, they're focusing it down.
I really like this move. Again, once again, Cognitive going to back off, look for trying to pick somebody up. It is very difficult, once again, to try to attack underneath the opponent's Immortal, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, they're collapsing here. We do see the big heals going off. The Divine Shield keeping Kerrigan alive, but a Void Prison locking out 2 heroes as it expires. This is such a bad spot for compLexity. They're just getting torn apart. Trummel will be eliminated, and that's 3 for nothing in favor of Cognitive.
That was an amazing Psionic Storm. It's like, yeah, you could retreat, but you're going to walk through this storm on the way. And once again, Cognitive making some really cool decisions here, realizing there are 3 heroes down on the side of compLexity. Make that 4 as they pick up Leoric, and they're going straight for a keep here. They don't need to get the Immortal right away. Patience here, knowing they can get the keep first. They know that this is not the side that Immortal is going to push because the fort is still up on the other side. So they're going to grab this, and then they can go back and take out that objective.
Yeah, giving up the keep here is like going to get coffee at the coffee shop and not buying donuts. Like, why would you not buy donuts? Just take care of it.
I don't know. I could never imagine not buying donuts, but they are getting engaged on by compLexity.
Oh, the jukes. Glaurung just diving forward, buying time for his team. He's buying so much time, actually. He knows he was going to go down there, and this is an excellent play. All this time, they're backing up. They can just do some more damage to that Immortal, but it looks like they're playing pretty passively considering their health bars.
Yeah, Glaurung, man, the playmaker, even in so many ways. This
even
time,
in depth.
Even in depth. Now, Cognitive are, like we mentioned, low, and now they've lost Kerrigan. So it does give time for compLexity to put damage on the Immortal, but whether they'll be able to burn it completely down before we see a defensive rotation. In fact, Cognitive are just trying to throw enough damage down. It's very difficult to try to defend, though, when it's already so low, and they have those Psionic Swords to be able to just whittle it down.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, though. Leoric and Zeratul with this defense did a decent amount of, defense for their Immortal, and they were able to burn down the blue team Immortal to about 25% of its health.
Yeah, so it's still not as super strong as it looks like it could have been. So really good job by them buying enough time. Unfortunately, there's a Blessed Shield, and now Trummel so difficult. His Adrenaline Rush did pop, but now the rotation will not be in time to save him. Raynor going to be down during this defense. Already the fort down to half 2. This will go down so quickly.
And this is going to give level 16 the Cognitive with their Immortal. So the bottom keep has already fallen, and now Cog is looking to put the nail in the coffin by eliminating the last structure outside of the core.
An imposing presence picked up on Johanna is so nice too versus compLexity, because we not only have Raynor, but we have Zeratul with that auto attack build with the Seasoned Marksman and focus attack and even the follow through. So it's going to, if they attack Johanna, their attack speed will be reduced by 40%.
That is quite a bit, so they're going to avoid doing that as often as they can, but this keep is being sieged up. We do see the Immortal doing so much damage, and they have to put their focus on Johanna to force her back. The damage isn't enough. It's going to be very close here. The keep is getting rather low. The cleave not going to go off, and they do manage to defend.
They'll defend it for now, but at any point, if Cognitive can take even somebody down or just even rotate in secretly, if compLexity push too far out on the map, they'll be able to take that out very quickly. Once again, very fast decision-making by Cognitive in their rotations, already picking up the Cosgra in bottom, as well as their Fallen Shaman on their side too. So they're going to be a big push here in bottom, and that's important because the keep is already down there. So they're once again going to put compLexity on the back foot.
Cognitive play has been so clean in this game. They've only lost 2 heroes total versus the 12 takedowns they've done against compLexity, picking up the bottom mercenary camp as well as those fallen shaman on the left. They're now pushing forward towards this final remaining mercenary camp.
Now these shaman are pretty easy to steal. There's a lot of space around there, and they're going to use that to their advantage, especially because compLexity still don't have their level 16 talent. So this is a scary fight they are going to try to take, but it's going to be iffy. Scylol, though, is getting very low.
Getting low, but the battlecruiser has been summoned. VP is thrown out. Divine Shield, and an almost connection on the Ancestral Heal there. This looks like they're going to succeed in sealing the camp and winning a big team fight. Blinks has fallen. That's 3 for 1 in favor of Cognitive. They might be able to end the game with this.
They might indeed. They're looking at it. They're trying to get through. Glaurung actually is already on the other side of the gate. Scylol, you're going to have to go around. You won't be quite so lucky here. But we're pushing in. We've got lots of camps, but already in the bottom, it's open, and it's pushed up to the core already. Cognitive, will they be able to do this? Looks like 16 more seconds until every member of compLexity is back up.
The Fallen Shaman trying to pressure that top keep. The fact that the Goat Boys are attacking this middle tower means they're not fighting the core. So Cog just says, you know what, let's back up, take the Immortal, and we'll win from there.
Yeah, just really great job by Cog in their decision-making. We sometimes see them make the too aggressive move, and today they've been showing such fantastic ability to just back off, take the safer route, and that's indeed what they're doing. The top keep, yes, it's still there, and the Immortal will push toward that toward that first, but it's already incredibly low because of the Shaman.
All of the teams here in NA just trying to be more passive when they need to. I mean, they're getting more reserved with their decision making, and it's showing off here in this match for sure. And Central Heal used rather early on Jaximus, and a lot of AoE damage going off from that Psionic Storm.
Yeah, there's a Divine Shield on top of Kerrigan too as she goes in for a takedown on Jaximus. He's going to be able to blink away. Still, we're looking at the defense, but Zeratul will go down already. A big damage dealer down on the side of compLexity as they're almost losing Cattle too. Will he be able to get away? No, he will also fall.
Used Army a little bit late there. That is going to be 3 down to the none on the side of Cog. The stun coming out. Glaurung is so very low, but Wraithwalk has to be used, and he does manage to get away. And now the Immortals will transition into the second phase.
And immediately, Cog goes back. They know that there are 3 heroes down, yes, but they are also still very low, and they don't want to lose anybody, not a single hero in this next phase. It's so important. If they can get that full Immortal, there is no defense that will keep compLexity alive.
A 2.5 level advantage for Cognitive. They're about to have a near full power Immortal at this rate. On top of it, the fact that they've gone 17-3 in terms of takedowns, well, it's really showing off.
Yeah, it's a little one-sided there for sure. They have all the structures down too. They still have both of their forts up. They're looking at dangerously close at their Storm tier talents too, but I don't know that we're going to get to that point in this game, guys.
Yeah, this Immortal is going to march down that top lane. It's going to slay through that final remaining keep, and Cognitive will look to end the game if they can.
All right, we do have 16 talents picked up, and we do have Giant Killer and Berserk on top of Raynor, so really they do have that auto attack damage as long as they're not using it on that Johanna, who will, of course, have that imposing presence. They will start to be able to do a lot of damage there, especially because the attack speed will be so fast from that Berserk.
Okay, Wraith walking out of there, but the Ancestral Hero will be there just in time. Does it matter? Hans is taking critical damage. That Ravage Primal Grass combo doing so much, using March of the Black King to just try to get out of there. He manages to survive, but will Cattle be as lucky? I don't think so, Gilly.
There's a Psionic Storm to take out Arthas Leoric. Yes, he used March of the Black King to get out, but he didn't really get much of a heal off of it. And Cog are racing past this Immortal. Hyperion is down. Pull in on Zeratul. 2 down now. Only 3 remaining for the defense, and I think we will see Cognitive moving out of this group, moving on into the final 4 teams in the Americas Championship.
What an upset. A lot of teams said compLexity would be coming here to win before this tournament, but Cog, they have done their homework, busting out new strategies today, running without warriors, running with multiple melee assassins, and just showing us some excellent play.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Cog. They're really being on point. Honestly, that game number 3, it was a little bit odd because it looked like it was kind of even the entire time, but there were a few little bit of mistakes there from compLexity, and they seemed to be a little bit off, while Cog was very, very on. We saw a couple of great pickups, we saw some missed ancestor healings here and there, but overall, when it came to actual engagements, when it came to actually winning a team fight, it only happened once or twice, but we're going to look at one of these fights and just see how disciplined Cog was to working around Kerrigan and using great Archon movement to put a lot of damage out, and looking at Slime in particular. So around the Immortals, you saw them really trying to get in situations where they can do things. So let's go ahead and pause this really, really quickly here, and I want you to focus on Cog. Whenever we do get into an engagement, you're going to see a Hyperion come in and put out a lot of damage really, really quickly. But if they can take out someone in a fast manner, they can move through that Hyperion and get to a full engagement. Now, I believe this is actually a little bit on the earlier side here. No, this is where it is. Okay, so we have Trummel turning around. He's going to pop Hyperion, but you see Jaximus obliterated. You see the entire team pull back a little bit. Glaurung and Hospital near each other, and they just move in. At the same time, pausing real quick here, this guy, Slime, up here in the top right corner, is actually doing so much damage. It's actually pretty darn ridiculous. If we could look at his stats, we would see that he was doing really a lot of the work. You know, Glaurung may have been the main focus for compLexity to deal with. You know, they brought out Raynor and tried to knock him back a little bit, and they made sure to heal whoever he dumped on top of. But Slime was just getting away with so much free damage, it was actually pretty ridiculous.
I really want to commend Cognitive, by the way, because we talked about it. iVSlime is their newest member, and their roster change was after August, too. So there really wasn't a lot of time to get him up, prepped up and ready, and a lot of times you'd see teams suffer for roster changes so close to events like this, but Cognitive, they are looking strong.
But a big props to compLexity as well, busting out that crazy Asmodee game, really shutting down the power of Illidan that Cog showed so disciplinedly earlier today. But tomorrow, we've got some more excellent matches coming up. We'll be starting off the day with Murloc Geniuses versus Cloud9, and then we'll be following that up with Relics versus Cognitive Gaming.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Esports Heroes and check out all the information there. Make sure you're keeping a part of the conversation using the hashtag HeroesWC. But overall, man, I had a lot of fun. What about you guys?
I had a fantastic time. These games today were so epic. We saw so many cool strats, and we really saw these teams bring it, knowing that this is their chance to get to BlizzCon.
Truly a privilege and an honor to cast these games. Thanks so much, guys. But we're going to throw it over to the hosts. Take it away, Anna Chobra.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, from all of us here at the Heroes of the Storm America's Championship, we would like to thank all the teams that, of course, who came here to do battle. And once again, another big round of applause and congratulations to Tempo Storm and Cognitive, who will be moving on to the bracket stage in the semifinals tomorrow, right here on this stage.
That's right, so please join us here again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific when we will see which teams rise and which teams fall, and who will be our final 2 America's teams that will be heading to BlizzCon and the Heroes of the Storm World Championship to win their share of $500,000 and glory.
And glory, of course.
Well, have a great night, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Good night, everyone.